Hare Krishna. There's a very interesting sutra in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras where he says in 133, how to achieve mental clarity. And he says, mental clarity will come to those who are, 1, friendly towards those who are happy. 2, show compassion to those who are suffering. 3, experience joy in regards to piety. And 4, neglect impiety. So very interesting. Let's take a look at that. So what he's saying is that a very key concept of the yoga path in general, something that's alerted to in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Yoga Sutras, and basically in all the sacred texts of the Vedic Indic tradition, that your state of mind is directly affected by those with whom you have association, those who you have any sort of emotional connection to. We reflect those around us. Like we're like, if you want to use a little new agey term, we're like crystals, like a transparent crystal. And when you put a transparent crystal around red things, the crystal looks red. If you put green things around it, it looks green. And we're a little bit like that. So the people with whom we associate, they cause a deep impact in our consciousness. So when he says that you achieve mental clarity when you're friendly towards those who are happy, that means that friendly in the sense of like you're well-wishing, you're connected, you want to help, you feel close to those people who are already well in life, their consciousness is advanced. Here when he says happy, it doesn't mean like hoo-hoo happy, like Cancun, not that kind of happy. He's talking about happy in the sense of like real profound joy, the kind of joy that you wake up with and go to sleep with and you deal with a flat tire with. That kind of happy that sticks, that stays with you day in, day out, which is what we're achieving with yoga, which is what you're going to get as you practice this path of yoga as well. So as we associate, we call this in modern terms, we say associating with those with higher consciousness, being together with good association, we call it satsang, so it's when you look for people who are already in that mood, people who are already cultivating a higher state of consciousness on purpose. They're carefully living their lives, making choices so that they can be happy and peaceful, again, following all the different suggestions which we'll find in the yoga path. So as you associate with these people, as you get close to these people, then you too will assimilate these higher qualities, and then this will also help you then have mental clarity. So that what that means in practice is that these days, because of the internet, it doesn't mean you have to, even if physically it's not possible, you might live in some little tiny town, you live somewhere, there's just nobody around you that you really know that you can. So it doesn't really mean you have to like physically be together with these people, but if you're like through videos and books and lectures and whatever, all the other ways you can by the internet be together with these people, sharing this experience like we're doing here, then that will help you achieve a state of mental clarity. So that's number 1. Number 2, he says, to show compassion to those who are suffering. So compassion, so like somebody who's higher, you want to be like them, and somebody who's having a worse time than you are, then the correct response is to show compassion, is that you want to help other people. And this really works. It certainly worked for me, is how I was brought up like that spiritually. So I was looking up towards those who were more advanced and trying to serve them and assimilate their qualities. And then I was at the same time, by their instructions, trying to help those who were who were suffering more than I was. So that means that you're trying to help the world be a better place, basically. What that means is that you see, like, what can I do to share this knowledge, which is making me feel better. I know it works because it's working for me. What can I do to share this, to make this available to those who are still suffering? And that kind of consciousness is very noble, and you feel very good about that. It really, you can see that that's the way to go, because it just feels so right. And then when you can actually help somebody just be a little bit better, there's no greater reward than helping somebody suffer less. And the more you can do it to, the more people you can do it to, the better it is, of course. It's obviously the most compassionate thing you can do. And that feeling will give you also it gives you more purpose. It gives you, you know what to do. It gives you that kind of grounding of like, okay, look, there's some serious work to be done here in this world, and this is what I can do about it. So that's very important. So those two have to do with contacting people to grow, and then contacting people to help them grow as well. So you're part of this chain of increasing consciousness. And the last two items have to do with Dharma, have to do with behavior. We could call it moral and ethical behavior. So Patanjali says you should do two things. One, you should experience joy in regards to piety. So that means that you should be happy to be doing the right thing. The joy of doing your Dharma, the joy of just being a good person, which is totally there. I mean, whenever you were a good person, you felt that joy. When you do the right thing, you feel that joy. It's absolutely like a reality of the universe, unless you've got some sort of defect in your brain, that you feel joy when you do the right thing, when you're being good. So having joy, he says you'll have mental clarity when you have joy in doing the right thing and being pious in the sense of just doing the right thing, doing your Dharma. And he says neglecting in piety. In other words, just don't go there. Do not go towards like immoral behavior, doing the wrong thing, not living your essence, rejecting your duties. Don't do that. Neglect that. Just don't even go there. You don't have to keep pointing it out in other people, which is also another way to understand this. Don't keep don't be oh look, you're doing this, and don't tell people they're doing it wrong, but you don't do it either. Don't go for that. Neglect that. Just don't go towards that world of just rejecting your Dharma, not fulfilling your essence, not living your duties, being sinful. That's not good either. So neglect that existence, neglect that kind of behavior. So get away from that whole world of bad immorality, we could call it sin, or not doing your Dharma, not being dutiful. You forget that, and then take joy in doing the right thing. So those are Patanjali's tips, 4 tips for achieving mental clarity. And I hope you enjoyed that. Hare Krishna.